Everybody hopes things will get better. Everybody hopes. Poor people hope. That ought to tell you something. It means the future does not get better by hope. It gets better by plan. I used to have the affliction called passive hope. It's an affliction. It's bad. Probably what's even worse than that is happy hope. Now that is really bad. That's bad. Happy hope. The guy's 50 and he's broke and he's still smiling. So get serious about your goals. Put them on paper. Write them down. There's all kinds. His goals, her goals, their goals. Business goals, financial independence goals, family goals. I mean, there's so many things to work on this that if you don't get busy and work on it, sure enough, the time will pass. And sure enough, 5 years from now, you'll wind up where you don't want to be, wearing what you don't want to wear, driving what you don't want to drive, being what you don't want to be. Now's the time to fix it. And here's one of the important phrases of the evening. Your goals are affecting you, whatever they are. Your goals affect your handshake. Your goals affect your attitude, personality. Your goals affect the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress. All day long, we're being affected by our goals. Now, some people have goals, but they have such lousy goals. The effect is bad. I asked a guy one time, what are your goals for this month? The guy said, look, if I could just scrape up enough money to pay these lousy bills. That was his goal. I'm not saying it isn't a goal. It's a goal, but it's such a lousy goal, the effect is bad. You don't jump out of bed on Monday morning and say, oh boy, another chance to go out and scrape up the money to pay my lousy bills. See, you don't do that. Usually you say, oh, not another Monday. And some people have so given up on life, they have joined the thank God it's Friday club. How sad. Surely those are the same people, when life is over for them, will say, thank God it's over. Let me just quickly give you a list of 4 emotions that can change your life in one day. Emotions are powerful. Sometimes it doesn't take much to alter your whole life direction. Number 1, disgust, powerful emotion. Disgust says, I have had it. See, that could be the day you can say, I've had it. And whether you've had it with something small or something major, the day you can say, I've had it, may not be the day it ends, but the day it begins. That's what I said when that little Girl Scout left my door when I'm 25. I give her the big lie, she leaves, I say, I don't want to live like this anymore. I've had it with lying and being broke. Powerful day. The man's finally had it with mediocrity. He's had it with being a loser. He's finally had it with those awful sick feelings inside, knowing his wife is at the grocery store looking at 2 cans of beans, one marked 37 cents, one marked 39 cents, and the guy sick inside knows his wife's going to buy the 37-cent can, and she doesn't even like the brand. Do you know why she's going to buy the 37-cent can? To save 2 cents. The guy sick inside finally says, I've had it. Being on my knees in the dust looking for pennies? We're not living like this anymore. Could be the day to turn your life around. The day you can say, I've had it. He walks into his closet and rips everything in it to shreds and says, I've worn this embarrassing stuff for the last. And not only will I never wear it again, no one else will ever wear it again. Commit an act that says, I've had it. Powerful. Here's the next one, decision. And decision-making is powerful. And it's emotional. That's those knots in the pit of your stomach, right? Waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, trying to decide. We sometimes call it inner civil war. What shall I do? Well, for progress, you must decide. The best advice I can give you came from a wealthy friend of mine who said, if it's easy, do it easy. If it's hard, do it hard. Just get it done. If you went home tonight and in the next few days cleaned up a whole list of decisions, that might furnish enough inspiration for the next 10 years. I found this out many times after you've decided. Getting on with it is easier than deciding. Sometimes decision is the toughest part. Here's the next emotion, desire, wanting to bad enough. And I don't know how to tell you to want to. That's something you've got to come up with. There's two things I know about desire. Number one, it comes from inside, not outside. You don't send off for it. Number two, I know desire can be triggered by something. Who knows what it might be? Sometimes desire waits and sleeps for something to happen. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a song, maybe it's a sermon, maybe it's a lecture, a seminar, maybe it's the conversation of a friend, a happening, an event. Who knows? The best advice I can give you is what I give my staff. It goes like this: welcome every human experience. You never know which one is going to turn it all on. Even the bad experience. Sometimes from the bitterest experience comes the greatest awakening. So let down the barriers, take down the walls. The same wall that keeps out disappointment keeps out happiness. Let life touch you. Don't let it kill you, but let it touch you. Here's the last one. This one's powerful. Resolve. Resolve says I will. Two of the most powerful words in the language. I will. Benjamin Disraeli once said, nothing can resist a human will that will stake even its existence on the extent of its purpose. Shortly put, I'll do it or die. See, that's powerful. That could be the day that turns your life around. The world has a strange way of stepping aside when somebody says, I'll do it or die. The man says, I will climb the mountain. They've told me it's too high, it's too far, it's too rocky, it's too difficult, it's never been done before, but it's my mountain, I will climb it. Pretty soon you'll see me waving from the top. Or dead on the side, because I ain't coming back. The best definition I ever got from the word resolve came from a little junior high girl in Foster City, California, up north. I'm talking to the junior high kids one day. I love to ask kids definitions. They come up with beauty. I got to the word resolve and I asked, who can tell me what resolve means? And I got several hands, and they were all pretty good, but the last one was the best. Little girl, about 3 rows back, held up her hand. She said, Mr. Rohn, I think I know what resolve means. I said, darling, what do you think it means? She said, I think it means promising yourself you will never give up. I said, that's it. Webster, stand aside. That is the definition. Promise yourself you will never give up. I asked the kids, how long should a baby try to learn how to walk? How long? How long would you give your average baby before you shut him off? How long? See, any mother in the world would say, you're crazy. My baby's going to keep trying until it learns how to walk. What a magic formula. Now let me show you what triggers all emotions into activity that brings results. And results is the name of the game. Here it is. Action. Finally, you must do something about how you feel. Jesus, the master teacher, said, don't just be listeners, be doers. The world admires the doers.
Some of you are not successful because every single time you run up against a trial, every time you run up against a tribulation, you stop and you cut off beast mode. And what I'm here to tell you is, if you tell that thing, I'm here just like you here, and I promise you, I ain't leaving without the degree. I will not leave without that goal. I will not leave without that dream. I will not leave this university until I'm successful. I will not leave this job. I will not leave this client. I will not leave this opportunity until I get it. I invested too much. I invested too much to quit. I made too many sacrifices to give up. There's no way I'm not going to be successful because my motives are pure. There's nothing that can stop me because my motives are pure. And the purer your motives are, that you guarantee yourself success. When you're doing stuff for yourself, you can't guarantee it's gonna blow up. If dreams were easy, everybody would make them happen. The problem is that most people, I watch most people, they can't get up in the morning. They ain't got no energy. I'm walking through the airport running almost. Most people that I'm with, they don't got the energy to keep up with me. I'm like, boo, ain't nothing wrong with you. You just ain't got the stamina. You just ain't got the energy. You can't smart everything. You can't outthink everything. Some stuff is just, you gotta be powerful. It's just some stuff that you gotta have stamina for. You just too slow. It just take you too long. You wake up, take you 3 weeks to do what it can take 24 hours to do. It don't make you a bad person, but you're gonna forever be average, because to be great, you got to keep up.
If the peak is worth reaching, the climb is gonna be hard.
I know you're ready to give up. I feel you. You're ready to give in. You're like, I've never gone through this before. Or maybe you're at the darkest point of your life and you're ready to give up. You're at a point in your life where you feel like it's do or die. You're going through so much pain. You're going through so much agony. You're ready to give up. You're ready to quit. Listen to me very carefully. You are a warrior. It is time for you to fight.
The rewards of a disciplined life are great, but they're often delayed until some time in the future. The rewards for the lack of discipline are immediate, but they are minor in comparison to the immeasurable rewards of consistent self-discipline. An immediate reward for lack of discipline is a fun day at the beach. A future reward of discipline is owning the beach. For most, we choose today's pleasure rather than tomorrow's fortune. So how can you get rid of the easy distractions? How can you keep your mind on what you're trying to do? How can you keep an attitude of doing it all and doing it now? How can you make the choice of discipline over procrastination? How can you stay focused on your ambitions? You can keep your focus on your work. You can get it done today instead of tomorrow. You've got to really work on your consistent self-discipline on a daily basis, or you'll find yourself distracted. Distracted by negative thoughts, distracted by negative people. And pretty soon, depending on the type of people you've associated with, distracted by your doubts within yourself. Never underestimate the power of influence and associations. And never underestimate the power of your own consistent self-discipline. Now let's take a closer look at discipline, at the 3 steps to becoming disciplined. First, true discipline is not the easiest option. Most people would rather sleep until 10 o'clock than get up at 6. It's easier to go to bed late, sleep late, show up late, leave early. It's easier not to read. It's easier to turn on the television than to open a book. It's easier to do just enough than to do it all. Waiting is always easier than acting. Trying is always easier than doing. Imagine what life would be like if we didn't have to make our bed in the morning, or keep our garage clean, or pay our taxes, or show up for work tomorrow. Wouldn't it be fascinating if we didn't have to do these things? Wouldn't it be fascinating? What do you suppose would become of us? You're right, not much. The system we live in and contribute to is designed to make the easiest things in life the most unprofitable. Profitable seems to be the most difficult. Our world is and always will be a constant battle between the life of ease and its momentary rewards and a life of discipline and its far more significant rewards. Each has its own price, the price of discipline or the price of regret. We will pay one or the other. What we wish we had done is the voice of regret, speaking in a sorrowful tone at a time when there is no going back. This is regret. Results. Every once in a while, you got to take a measure, see how you're doing. Now we take a measure called results. What is the results at the end of the day, the results at the end of the week? You can't let too much time go by without checking. 6 years I'd been out there working when I met my teacher, Mr. Shope. Shope said, well, Mr. Rohn, let's just go through a little summary here. He said, in the last 6 years, how much money have you saved and invested? Let's go through a little tab list here. How much money have you saved and invested the last 6 years? I said, what? 0. He said, you have messed up. He said, who sold you on that plan? I thought, my gosh, the man's right. I'm a nice guy. I bought the wrong plan. What if you were 50 and broke? Right? Didn't need to change countries. Bought the wrong plan. What a sad scenario that would be. Shope said, these questions. Let's go through some results. He said, how many books have you read in the last 90 days? I said, what? 0. Wisdom of the world available? Change your life, change your future? Wisdom of the world available? Develop any skill you want? Earn the kind of income you want? Have all the treasures you want, equities you want, relationship with your family that you want, everything that you want available, and the wisdom of the world to help you get it? Haven't read any books in the last 90 days. My teacher said, Mr. Rohn, you have messed up. I'm telling you, you got the deal. Shope said, Mr. Rohn, in the last 6 months, how many classes have you taken to improve your skills or to develop new skills? Go for the American dream. Become rich and powerful and sophisticated and healthy and influential. How many classes have you taken in the last 6 months? I said, how many? 0. He said, you have messed up. He said, you don't need to unmess the country. You don't need to straighten out the perplexed. You don't need to straighten out any of this stuff. All you've got to do is look within and let results teach you a great deal about your own activity, your own attitude, and your own philosophy. I went through that process. Take this phrase home. Results is the name of the game. What other game is there?
You are a warrior. It's time for you not to back up, not to give up, not to give in. Stop letting stuff derail you. Stop getting stuck. Every time life don't go your way, stop getting stuck. Stop quitting. Stop giving up. Keep fighting in the midst of the struggle. Keep fighting. Keep thinking positive. Keep going. You only lose when you quit. Remember what makes you different from the weak. The difference between the weak and the strong is that when the strong have no more left, they fight, they fight, they fight. The weak, they quit, they give up, they give in, and there's nothing weak about you. So I need you to fight your way through it.
I wish I had not waited 14 years. Somebody said if you want to lose something, lose money. You can get that back. 8 out of 10 millionaires have been financially bankrupt. Walt Disney filed bankruptcy 7 times and had 2 nervous breakdowns. But don't lose time. There were 14 years I sat on the sideline. 14 years I said, I don't have an investor in me like Tony Robbins. 14 years that said, I don't have an MBA or a PhD, and I can't compete with these guys. I have the complexion of rejection. And so I regret that. Because there are some people that maybe if they'd heard my voice, they would not have turned to drugs. If they'd heard my voice, their lives would have taken a different direction. And I can't get those 14 years back. That haunts me, and I think that drives me when I speak with such energy. I'm trying to make up for that time, but I can't.
And this era that Fortune magazine has aptly called the era of possibilities. I want you to look out on your personal life and on your professional life. Now, I want you to think about something you want very badly. Just think about one goal that you'd like to achieve. Like my driving passion was to buy my mother a home because I appreciated Mama adopting us. And I said, Mama, that's something I want to do for you. And I achieved that goal. And ladies and gentlemen, let me share something with you. There's nothing like doing something that you set out to do that gives your life some meaning and power and purpose. And that gave my life some meaning and power and purpose. And I'll never forget when we drove there and I gave her the key and she got out. She, oh my God. I said, nobody could have told me that you would have done this. And I was a bad one. I mean, I was a problem kid, you know. My mom used to wear my butt out. So I'll whoop you behind till the cows come home. I said, I hope they hurry up. But there was nothing like that achievement. Now, here's something I want you to do. Think about some goal you want to achieve. And I don't want you to worry about how you're going to do it. That's not important. Just shut up. Get that. How is none of your business. Because of our mental conditioning, ladies and gentlemen, we unconsciously build a case on why we can't do something. When I wanted to go in the area of motivation, I started building a case for myself. Les, you can't do that. You've never worked for a major corporation. You can't do that. You don't have any college training. You can't do that. You don't have the money. You don't have the contacts. You've never done that before. What makes you think that you can make more money in 1 hour than most people make working for 2 or 3 months? How many of you have ever wanted to do something? And just answer honestly. How many of you have ever wanted to do something and you talk you out of it? Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. All right? So you know that inner conversation, that's what I'm going to override tonight. All right? Now, by the way, when I get started, I get fired up. So don't pay me any attention. Let me take my coat off. I don't have much time, so I want to burn this up. Hold this for me. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. All I want you to do is hold the vision of what you want. I want you to think about that all the time. Hold the vision of what you want. Keep that in your mind's eye. I dreamed about constantly being on Robert Schuler's program. I thought about it all the time. See, ladies and gentlemen, our thoughts have power. Your thought is what you brought. So people don't realize that. See, we can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on. So your thoughts have magnetism, and the most challenging thing is to discipline your thinking, to hold the vision of what it is that you want. That's the most difficult part. I saw myself on Robert Schuler's program. I saw myself being interviewed by Robert Schuler. I saw myself prepared to answer whatever question he asked. I was ready for him. I've been there 1,000 times in my mind. At the end of the program, he said, "It feels like I've known you before, like we've been together before." I said, "We have been, spiritually and mentally. I've been following you for a long time." I thought about it. See, this is no game to me. It's no memorized speech to me. I live this. I believe you don't teach what you don't know, and you don't lead where you don't go. And most people, ladies and gentlemen, most of us go to our graves with our greatness in us. Most of us, ladies and gentlemen, most people, when they die, you can literally put under their names, dead but not used up yet.
No second chance. No, what would I do differently? Choose one or the other, but both will have their price, the price of discipline or the price of regret. One costs pennies, the other a fortune. The first lesson of discipline is that it isn't the easiest option. The second lesson of discipline is that it's a full-time activity. And we've said that the best form of discipline is consistent self-discipline. You see, the discipline that it takes to make your bed every day is the same discipline necessary for success in the world of business. The discipline to organize your garage is the same discipline to organize your business. All disciplines carry through to affect all parts of our lives. If we're disciplined in just one area and lazy in another, guess what? Pretty soon, the lazy side will creep in and destroy the disciplined side. The bad habits in one area of our life will eventually destroy our self-discipline in the areas we've been working on. Consistency cannot be inconsistent. Discipline is the mind being trained to control our lives. Discipline is a set of standards which we've selected as a personal code of conduct. Discipline is imposing on ourselves the requirements for honoring these standards. Once we've adopted these standards of behavior and conduct, we're committed to honor them. And if we don't, then there can be no disciplined activity. We find ourselves announcing our standards to our relatives, our friends, our associates. We shout our beliefs and condemn those who believe any differently, but then we don't walk the talk. We end up acting in a way far different from the beliefs we've shouted. We tell our kids that the TV is rotting their minds, yet we spend our evenings in front of it. We tell our employees that they must take advantage of every minute of the working day, yet we spend 3 hours at lunch. Do as I say, not as I do. This is inconsistent. This leads to a loss of credibility among those who watch us. And more importantly, this leads to a loss of credibility within ourselves. The only thing worse than one who is inconsistent in applying their self-imposed disciplines is one who has never considered the need or the value of discipline at all. These people seem to wander aimlessly, changing procedures, changing standards. changing loyalties and shifting frequently from one commitment to another, leaving behind a trail of broken friendships, unfinished projects, and unfulfilled promises, all because of a discipline that was either non-existent or imposed so infrequently that it was ineffective.
Here's all life asks us to do: make measurable progress in reasonable time. Just take home that little phrase, good phrase. We're asked in life simply to make measurable progress in reasonable time. We demand it of our children. How many years do you want your child to spend in 4th grade? Approximately. About 1. If it looks like they're not going to make it, we pour on the pressure, called legitimate pressure, lack of results. Peer pressure, family pressure, school pressure, community pressure. Every other kind of pressure we can bring to bear. What? You can't stay more than 1 year in 4th grade. What if they're nice kids? Wouldn't you give them 3 or 4 years? The answer's no. You got to make better progress. So you got to check fairly often. Some things you got to check every day. Some things you got to check at least by the end of the week. Salesman joins this little sales company. He's supposed to make 10 calls first week. Wouldn't it be legitimate? Call him in on Friday and say, John, what? How many calls? I mean, this stuff is simple. John says, well. Say, John, well won't fit in this little box here. Well. Now John starts with a story. You say, John, I made this little box so small so a story won't fit. I don't need a story. I need what? A number. A number. What will a number tell me? Everything. John's supposed to make 10 calls. What if he made 20? You say, wow. Wow. We got somebody. What if he only made 1 call? Oh. Will that tell us something about John's philosophy? And the answer is yes. Will it tell us something about his attitude? Of course. Will it tell us something about his disciplines? Of course. And if he wants a lesson in life change, all he has to do is be willing to face numbers and come up with the results that will teach you to either celebrate if you got good results or fix whatever needs to be fixed in your philosophy, attitude, activity called discipline. You don't need to go anywhere else. I do believe in affirmations. They are valuable as long as you affirm the truth. Because it says in ancient scripts, the truth will set you free. Free to do what? Amend your errors and pick up new disciplines. That's what the truth is for, to help us amend our errors and pick up the disciplines for life change. That's what the truth is for. So I do believe in affirming the truth. If you're broke, the best thing to affirm is, I am broke. You put that up on the refrigerator where you can see it every day. I mean, that's how you do that.
Because most people go through life holding back. Most people go through life not giving their all. Most people have their lives on hold. How many of you know you can do more than what you've been doing? Raise your hands, please. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that proves a point. That we know we can do more than what we're doing, and we're not doing it. Why? Why? I couldn't understand that. I was born in Liberty City. I knew I can do more than what I was doing when I was working for the Miami Sanitation Department. When I used to go door to door selling television sets, no money down. When I was working for Sears when it was on Biscayne Boulevard. I knew I can do more than that. But I wasn't doing, I was stuck, because we don't do what we know. What we do is we operate in the context of the vision that we have of ourselves. See, I couldn't see how to do more. I knew I could do it, but I couldn't see it for me. I believed it. I didn't know it, because if I knew it, I would have been manifesting it. So therefore, hold the vision of what it is that you want. The next thing is that whatever it is that you want to do, ladies and gentlemen, here's something that's very key for you. There must be on your part a willingness to do what is required, a willingness. If there are 75 things to do to achieve your goal, if there's one thing on that list of 75 that you're not willing to do, I guarantee you that's the first thing that will come up for you and will kick your butt.
Credit goes to our awesome patrons who make videos like this one possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell button to get notified when our new videos are released. And as always, thank you for watching.
If somebody can walk away from your life, let them walk away. You shouldn't have to convince anybody to love you. If they can walk, let them go. If they leave you, it means they're not attached to your future. Some of you, you are taking too much time trying to convince people to love you that do not matter. Some of you are taking way too much time tolerating and trying to get people engaged that don't matter, that don't care, that are never ever going to help you get into your destiny. What if I told you that some of the rejection you have been facing in your life, it's because people are jealous of what's on your life? What if I told you that the rejection is simply an indication that you got favor on your life? God is getting ready to do something in your life. You just got to understand there's more to know. There's more to know.
Move on. Straight up, move on. Forget them. They are lying and they are untrustworthy, so move on. That person is not who you thought they were, right? They are not who you thought they were. The idea that this person was a trustworthy, faithful companion is not true. It is not true. That person does not exist. They didn't exist and they don't exist. It was in your head. It was in your head that this person was trustworthy and they were everything you wanted them to be and they were a faithful companion. That is a lie. They are not that person. They have proved it. They have proved it by their actions. Be thankful that you were able to learn before you invested more into this person. Be thankful that you found out when you did that this person was a liar, that this person was unfaithful, was untrustworthy. Be thankful that you know it.
If somebody wants to leave, let them leave. Your destiny is not tied to the people that walked away. Quit trying to talk people into staying. You don't have to convince anyone to love you, to call you, to come see you. You are a gift. You are a prize. You have something amazing to offer. If they don't want to be there, that's a sure sign they're not supposed to be there. One of your dreams may have died. That didn't stop God's plan. He has another dream. One relationship may not have worked out. If you'll kiss goodbye the old, God will show you the new. If someone is supposed to be in your life, you can't make them leave. And if someone leaves easily, they're not supposed to be there. But sometimes God will close the door. He'll move people out of your life. There are people and opportunities that were ordained for your past that are not ordained for your future. They were right for a season, but that season can come to an end. The key is how we handle the closed doors, how you handle the disappointments, how you handle the people that treated you wrong. It takes a lot of energy to think about the past, relive the hurts, wonder why it didn't work out. That person you lost, if they were supposed to be here, they would still be here. If somebody left you, I say it respectfully, you don't need them. If it didn't work out the way you had planned, it wasn't supposed to. God's ways are not our ways. Will you trust Him when it doesn't make sense? When God makes up for what you lost, it's not going to be less than, it's not going to be equal, it's going to be better. Just because it hasn't turned out the way you thought doesn't mean you have to settle for second best. God has to come up with a plan B. God already knew what would happen. He knew every door that would close. He knew every person that would walk away. He knew how you'd spend time and energy, but a dream not come to pass. All that is getting you prepared for where God has taken you. He's the Alpha and the Omega. He knows how to not only open doors that no man can shut, He knows how to close doors that no man can open.
Don't worry about the people that God has removed from your life. He saw things you didn't see. He heard conversations you couldn't hear, and he made moves you wouldn't make. And that's it. When a door gets shut, all you gotta do is walk up the hall. It's more doors. This is God. He's everything, man. He got everything. You have to live your life in the expectation of wonderful things happening. God is a merciful God. He didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't set you up to fail. He only wants to progress his children. That's all he wants to do. Even if you're wrong, he forgives us. Just keep moving, man. It ain't nothing.
We all go through things in life that don't make sense. A friend walked out of a relationship. The company's downsizing. They don't need us anymore. Or we were being our best. Then the pandemic hit. Business went down. Children can't go to school. Dreams are put on hold. Sometimes it feels like we're going backwards. It's easy to live frustrated and think, God, why is this happening? But we're not going to understand everything that happens. God's ways are not our ways. He can see things that we can't see. And just because it's not fair doesn't mean that God is not in control. Your steps are being ordered by the Lord. If He allowed it to happen, He's going to bring good out of it. He promises all things work together for your good. On its own, it may not be good. It wasn't fair, you're uncomfortable, but when it all comes together, you're going to see how it works to your advantage. The difficulty, the delay, the betrayal was all instrumental in you reaching your destiny. But none of us like bad breaks, loss, delay. But without that difficulty, you couldn't become who you were created to be. It may look like a dead end, but really it's setting you up for promotion. That door closed so a bigger door could open. That person that left you, it was hurtful, but it wasn't just their choice. God moved them out of the way so He could bring someone better. Or that struggle was difficult. You didn't do anything wrong, but you had opposition at work. Your child wouldn't do what's right. It wasn't fair, but what you couldn't see is it was growing you up, developing your character, getting you stronger, more confident, more determined. Without it, you wouldn't be prepared for the blessing, the increase, the new levels that are coming your way. You may not understand what you're going through. You could live worried, discouraged. Try a new approach. God, I don't understand it, but I trust you. I know you're in control. You're working all things for my good. So I'm not going to live upset. I'm going to stay in peace, knowing that you will get me to where I'm supposed to be.
What you put in will produce the output, okay? So when you see a situation that's difficult and you see a situation that, other people don't want to do, you should maybe be the person who steps up to that and says, dude, I'm willing to do that because I'll learn this. I'm willing to take on that because I'm willing to get this skill. I'm going to endure this adversity because I know it's going to make me stronger, all right? So look at these as an opportunity for you to grow, as opposed to something that you should run away from because it's going to be difficult. This is something that champions and successful people who are great at what they do and live great lives that bring other people up do automatically, okay? So that's the first thing. Embrace your adversity and look for opportunities to get better and grow. Now, the second thing I think is going to resonate with a lot of you guys. Dude, a lot of you guys, for lack of better terms, you got no swag, okay? And what I mean by that is this. It's not that you don't, it's that you're too afraid to show it, all right? You let people humble you to death. What does that mean? You guys all know what that means. Think about the time that you said, to your best friend or your group of friends or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and you said, what your real dream was. You got all this courage and you got vulnerable and you decided you were going to tell the truth about what it is you wanted to achieve. And then what happened? You got laughed at. And he's, oh, Andy, dude, come on, man. Like, what are you really going to do? You know, or when you start making progress, like a lot of you guys, you know, in your fitness journey, you know, you see, you start to make progress and you have people kind of hate on it passively, right? Oh, you're getting all serious about that health junk now. Well, yeah, no shit, motherfucker, because it's important. Or you start to have a little success in your business and people start telling you, oh, Andy thinks he's hot shit now, blah, blah, blah. Okay, these are what I'm talking about. You guys allow a lot of the people that you connect with and you allow in your life to pull you down because you feel obligated to hearing their opinion or listening to them because of the context of the relationship. Maybe it's your brother, maybe it's your friend from high school, maybe it's your girlfriend, maybe it's your boyfriend, maybe it's your mom, maybe it's your dad, right? And we all love these people, and these people mean well most of the time. And what they don't understand is when they criticize us for having a little success or laugh at our dreams, what does that make us do? It makes us pull back. It makes us get more conservative. It makes us not say what we want. And I can promise you, if you can't say what you want, you'll never achieve what you want. All right? It'll never happen. So you guys have to understand that it is okay to believe in yourself. It is okay to say, I'm going to do this. It is okay to celebrate your successes. Winning in life in any area is a great thing.
Victoria and I were in another city walking through a park, and it was full of these huge cactus plants. They stood over 30 feet tall, all kinds of incredible shapes. I was amazed at not only how beautiful they were, but how big they were. As we continued through the park, enjoying all the sights, we came to a group of cactus that looked the same type as the large cactus, but they were only about my height. I went over to them and looked closer, trying to figure out why they were so much shorter. I said to Victoria, they must be a different kind. She looked up and said, no, Joel, it's that tree. There was this large oak tree, and its branches were keeping the sun from hitting these cactus. What's interesting is they have the same potential as the cactus that were 30 feet tall. They're in the same soil, same climate, same weather conditions. The only difference was something was blocking their growth. Because they're constantly in the shade, they're only a fraction of what they were created to be. And I wonder if something is blocking your growth. Are you under the shade of what someone spoke over you, told you what you couldn't do, how you're not that talented? Now that shade is limiting your life. Are you under the shade of intimidation, afraid to step out in faith, thinking of all the things that could go wrong? Do you have friends that are blocking your growth, causing you to compromise, do things that are holding you back? What could you become if you got out from under that shade? How high could you go if you made some adjustments? The good news is the potential is still in you. You can still become who you were created to be. You just have to get out from under that shade. Remove what's blocking your growth and you'll begin to blossom. You'll go to new levels. There's nothing wrong with you. You have the life of Almighty God in you. He created you to rise higher, to be successful, confident, to leave your mark. I was talking to a man and he was so down on himself because of past mistakes. He went on and on telling me everything he had done wrong. He was so focused on his past that it was poisoning his future. You may have made mistakes. We all have. But don't let guilt stunt your growth. Come out from under that shade. Quit thinking about all the things you've done wrong, living in regrets, thinking you've seen your best days. When you live guilty, you're in agreement with the enemy. He's called the accuser. He'll remind you of every mistake you've made for the last 20 years. He'd love for you to go through life feeling wrong about yourself. What he's trying to do is stunt your growth. He'll do his best to keep you in the shade. He knows your potential. He knows you were created to soar. That's why he works overtime trying to make us feel guilty, whispering, you don't measure up. You failed again. You blew your diet. You didn't spend enough time with your children. there's always some reason to be down on ourselves. You have to put your foot down and say, no thanks, I'm not living under that shade. I know I'm forgiven, I'm redeemed, my past is over, my present is secure, my future is bright.
Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? In other words, if you don't get what you thought you was going to get, will you still be the same individual? If the situation don't turn out the way you thought it would turn out, will you still be the same individual? The quote says it, you judge the character of a man not by where he stands in times of comfort and convenience. You judge the character of a man by where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. Like, I don't care what a cat do when everything goes right. I don't, because everybody knows to smile. Everybody gonna celebrate when you win a game. Everybody gonna be in your corner and talking about how great you are. But when the opposition happens, when it gets hot, right, when cats don't want it and don't want to be a part of it, when things start going south and a cat jumps on your head and you're like, man, it's not what I thought it was, right? The crazy thing about it is most cats remind me of one of my freshman roommates when we first got our Pell Grant check, right? And I'll never forget, I got $2,500 and he got close to $4,000. And when I looked at him, I said, man, I ain't never had this much money before. He's like, me neither. I said, man, I'm going to the bank. I'm about to open up me an account. I'm gonna put this in the bank. My man says to me, Ink, I'm gonna go to Foot Locker. I'm about to spend all this. I'm like, all right, cool, but come with me to the bank, man. You need to save a little bit of that. I said, you might not get that much again. He's like, that's the problem. I said, come with me to the bank. He come with me to the bank, open up an account. I put my money in the bank. He goes straight to the mall, exactly what he said he was gonna do. We walk in Foot Locker, let me get those J's, he's splurging. All right, we get to the counter, lady starts ringing it up. He gives her the card, she swipes the card didn't go through. He looked at me, I said, don't look at me, big spender. You the man. He said, ma'am, I know I got the money, football office gave it to me. And you swipe it again, she swiped it again, card didn't go through. He looked at me, I said, don't look at me, big money tight grip, you the man. He said, ma'am, can you swipe it again? I know I got the money. She swiped it, didn't go through, she handed him the card back, and I'll never forget, she said to him, sir, you haven't even pulled a strip off the back of the card to activate the card. She said, you got the money. She said, but you haven't even called to activate it. And when you look at some young cats, you're like, man, you could be great. But you haven't even pulled a strip off to activate it. Like, you can operate in a level of excellence in everything you do, but you haven't even pulled a strip off to activate it. Right? You living on reserve, and most cats live on reserve. And what I mean by living on reserve, most cats do things in such a way to where when they get to a certain point, their heart is like a Cadillac converter in a car. Right? You know what a Cadillac converter is? It's when you're in a certain car and you try to push it to the limit, and when it gets to the limit, the car says, And every time you try to mash it, the car, because it hasn't been to that point before, and that's the heart of most cats. When they get to a certain point that they haven't been to before, they retreat.